Today is July 1st, 2021, and I would like to do a channeling on greatness or the path to greatness or how to be one of the greats. So let's get into it. Greatness is something that we often see in others, often forgetting that it also exists within the self. Greatness always comes from within first, never from without first. We often look to someone who we consider great and we think, what do I need to do? What path do I need to take? What things do I need to learn? What qualities do I need to practice in order to be like this great person that I see? But greatness is always within. It's not something that you have to do. It's not some path that you have to follow. It's not some skill that you have to learn first to achieve it. It's something that already exists within. You simply have to find it. And the reason why it can be so difficult to find is because the greatness that lies within is hidden under layers and layers and layers of all the ways that we have been told and taught through the majority of our lives, all the ways that we have been conditioned into believing that we are not great already as we are. Whether that is through criticisms we received as a child. Some of it may have been useful criticisms to help us fit into the societal constructs that we live in. Some of it may have been malicious from the bumps and tumbles we take, from the mistakes we make, quote unquote mistakes we make in our peer groups, from the advertising that we see out in the world telling us that we're not good enough unless we buy XYZ product, where they either pinpoint an insecurity they know we already have, or they create a new one within us. From the teachers or the managers who didn't ever believe in perfect performance and would never give you 100% or the top rating because they didn't believe that exists. There's always something that needs to be changed. So we've constantly been told our entire lives that we are not great, that we are not good enough in some way unless we do XYZ or buy XYZ, or that we never will be great because greatness does not actually exist. And so our true greatness has been stifled, it's been smothered, and it has been burdened by the layers that sit upon it. And so it's hard for us to see our own greatness. It's hard for us to find our own greatness because there are all these layers in between. And so that's why we often ask, how do we become great? Not realizing that the whole time we actually are great. And the question isn't, how do I become great? The question is, now that I know that I am great, how do I want to express it? Because there is no path that you need to take to become great. You already are great. So it's not about the path you need to take. It's about, I'm already great. How am I going to express it? How am I going to show it? What things please me that I want to do? And when we talk about how am I going to show my greatness, we don't mean this in the sense of needing to show it off or needing to become larger than life in the eyes of others. Greatness is a calmness that comes within. It's simply knowing your full potential and all that you are and all that you can be and will be. It is a quiet confidence, a quiet centeredness, groundedness within, a quiet strength. So when we talk about, I know I'm great, how am I going to express that? It's not about showing it off necessarily. It's simply about, how am I going to share that with those in my life? How am I going to express that as who I am within my life? And if that seems small to you, or if that seems not great enough or grand enough, simply know that we are all great. And also know that many people are lost trying to figure out their own greatness. We look to those that we consider great and think, wow, they're amazing because they did XYZ, because they overcame XYZ. We think they're great because of some external factor that they have, or some internal factor that makes them special and the rest of us not as special. But the greats are not here to make us believe that we need to be more than we are. They're not here to continue the conditioning we've been under that tells us we're not good enough, we're not great enough as we are. Just like we've been conditioned our whole lives. That's not what the greats are here to show us. They are simply here to inspire us to dream bigger, see bigger, connect more deeply with ourselves. Because they have reached new heights. And the greats often have a lot of the same conditioning that we have. In fact, they grew up in the same conditioning that we had, more likely than not. And though they still have some of that, because it takes a lifetime to overcome that, if not even longer, they have broken through many more of the barriers of the layers of conditioning telling them that they're not good enough. So they've broken through many more barriers. And that's the lesson you need to take away from the greats. Not what they do, not what they've achieved in terms of the external factors, but what they've achieved in terms of the internal factors, in terms of breaking through the chains that society likes to put on us to keep us down, to keep us living the lives that we've always been living. And when I say society, I don't mean your parents or even your teachers. I don't mean that they are at fault, because they too have grown up in a society where they were conditioned in the same way. So many of them did not know better. And the moment that you start placing blame, the moment that you start moving away from your greatness and playing back into the conditioning of not being good enough for XYZ reasons, because of XYZ person, and also that those people are not good enough because they made you believe you're not good enough. When we see others as not good enough, it perpetuates this idea that we are not good enough, because how we treat others gets reflected back to us and the cycle continues. So someone needs to break that cycle. And the only person in your life who can do that, or who you can tell to do that, is yourself. So the greats are here to inspire us to break through our own doubts about the self. Not to do it in a specific way or follow a specific path, but simply to dream bigger, to know that we can achieve more, and to recognize our own greatness when we see them, for they are a reflection of ourselves, the qualities that we appreciate in them, that we see and we look at them and we desire those same qualities, or we wish we were like them and we feel we're not. All of those qualities are qualities that exist within the self. We just don't feel like we have those qualities, again, because of all the layers of all the years of conditioning that have told us otherwise. But if there's something that you appreciate in another person, it already exists within you. You simply have to work to remove the layers. And that starts with recognizing your own greatness.